You're watching this week's show with Dan and Mike.
This week's show.
Hello there.
We firstly are going to do a big catch up because our last full length podcast was War Game predictions, and it turns out that we got the same score with slightly different results.
Yeah, we called 3 out of the 4 games.
We did. And so we're going to, because this is actually our album club, and to be honest, having listened to Mike's album choice and my own, I'm quite excited to do that. Also, we kind of realised that because we record on a Monday in the UK in the evening, it is literally just before Raw. We've seen all of the posts from various people, including Triple H, saying it's going to be epic and all of this sort of stuff. So we just hampered by the timing that we record on, that we can't actually deliver all of the information that we would like. So make sure that you do tune in, because we will be. But we did get the War Games, both of us.
Yes.
We called that one so well together. But we'll go in the order.
They should have had them the other way around, though.
You reckon?
Yeah, the women's match was far more entertaining than the men's match. It's just like...
Well, there might be a reason why the men's match stuttered. Is that incredibly bad head bump that Bron Breakker took.
Bron Breakker landed on literally the back of his neck, wasn't it? And then, but he still carried on.
Well, did you notice how clever they were? Because obviously
they filmed different angles whilst he had first aid looking
I'll
at
just
him.
double checking, and then if you noticed, him and I think it was CM Punk went to the other side of where there's being filmed, and then they just worked through a couple of things to see whether or not he. I mean, Bron, seriously, what a unit! Do you know what I've seen a lot of people saying it's similar as? Is if you go back into Brock Lesnar's history, his finisher used to be a shooting star press, which is standing on the corner and doing a flip, but like front flip and then down onto them. And he misplaced Kurt Angle in the ring. Tried doing
it's the wrong person you want to misplace, because Kurt's already got a messed up neck, hadn't he?
Oh no, this meant that he completely missed Kurt and basically came down on his neck so hard that if he wasn't Brock Lesnar with the traps and the sheer muscle size going up through that, the
lack of neck,
the lack of neck, he would be dead. Whereas like Bron, who also has an incredible muscular structure up through there.
He does, doesn't he? But and also he's got a lot of speed.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why he did shake it off. But I can imagine that did affect some spots. I mean,
I'd imagine he'd probably have a week of deep muscle massages and stuff, and probably won't be on Raw, or he might be on it as a presence, but not as a speeding torpedo.
No, I mean, to be fair, you could see the point that he felt a lot better because he was a bit slow moving, and then suddenly he was zipping about again, and that's when I started breathing freely again, because I hate watching stuff like that.
Once the game was over and they were walking back up the alleyway, you could tell something was up, because he was actually holding his neck and like not moving his head around or anything. It's like,
well, it's like the fact that you realise the difference between a wrestler actually in pain and a wrestler selling, because all he did after he came down was just do that, and there was no and that was the point that all of us that were watching it was like, okay, so they're checking that he's okay now, because that was such a bad bump. But like Brock never actually had any adverse reaction to it. Had his bell rung, is what they call it, because I imagine that Bron was wrestling with quite the migraine afterwards.
When you said make the bell ring, it's like, well, wasn't that Iyo Sky in the bin?
And the one bit I loved about that is finally just a crack through the curtain is just before she jumped. I noticed her do a hand signal to shift one of the people down below over. But when you're doing a spot, when you're in a bin doing a swanton,
and you can't see where you're going,
I don't mind seeing that, because
also she had her legs splayed so far out that they could just catch her legs. She went over and then basically just came out and stood back up when the bin came off. It's just like, I wonder how many times they practiced that in like backstage.
And I love the silliness as well. Like at one point, AJ Lee was hugging Charlotte Flair, and they've gone online saying like Charlotte's like, I love being a little spoon and stuff like that. Like the comedy at the moment. Also, if I'm right in thinking, and I think manager is going to confirm, is the little girl that was wearing the same clothes as Charlotte Flair. She was the designer.
Yes, she was.
Yes,
she's got cancer, and Charlotte has been and visited her while she's having treatment and stuff, and she designed the Queen outfit and the bright colours. That's why she had the same T-shirt on.
Yes.
And she went, before going into the ring, Charlotte went over and did fist bumped or whatever they did, little hugs and stuff, and that's probably why also Charlotte didn't come in with her normal
entire big
headdress as if she's at the Notting Hill Carnival sometimes, isn't it?
I mean, I love it because it's big vibes, but yes, that was
7-year-old Scarlett was battling from a brain tumour and she designed it.
Yeah, 7-year-old Scarlett battling a brain tumour, and I love the fact that Charlotte, for supporting her, will do something like change her standard, big sort of well-known things. It made it more impactful because we all just went, oh, that's an interesting outfit, and then seeing the kid, it kind of told you with it, and then I think the announcers actually said it as well, to be honest.
Yeah, but a few wrestlers do that, don't they? Like John Cena, when he wrestled in, I can't remember what it was, but they were all wearing yellow and he brought all the kids out. That was like not Make-A-Wish, but community outreach, so we say. It was all to show that we're not just wrestlers that beat each other up, we support the community, and I
mean, famously, there was a kid that at WrestleMania 30, so 10 years before, where Cody took it from Roman, Daniel Bryan did a big storyline where they were keeping him from the title, all this sort of jazz. And as soon as he won, he went and hugged one of the kids, because the kid was not long for this world by the time it actually hit the internet with all of what they did for this kid. So they had him pinning Triple H in the ring and stuff like that. The kid had already passed, unfortunately, but it was so meaningful for the kids that Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, at the culmination of his storyline, the first thing he did was just go and hug
that's cool.
The kids. So this is why we love wrestling, is you drill down behind everything and there's an awful lot of nice stuff that happens.
Well, we didn't mention it, but last week on Raw with Little Cena, which then ties it into the Dom fight.
It still makes me so uncomfortable when they do that, but that's the beauty of Dom, is they're actually doing stuff that is Dom, really?
He came out onto the gantry, the walkway, and you could just see Dom he just bursting out laughing, but then he just gave him a size 12 to the face, and just
so bad.
What was it? I think it was Wade Barrett called him John Wiener because he's so small.
So bad.
But the little fellow, he was loving life, wasn't he? But he had a little Stu as well, the cameraman.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you have to take it from the people that are doing it. And Hornswoggle makes a very good point on Chris Van Ville, is that he wouldn't do anything that he didn't want to.
Yeah.
So if you see somebody in that position, they know the way that they're being represented and they're happy with it, but for some reason it does still make me uncomfortable. So...
But he mimics John down to a T. It's just like the way he goes.
So good. Let's go on to Cena versus Dom, because this is one I got wrong. I did say John just because I wanted him to win.
You wanted him to go. So what was it you said? John will keep it, and then he'll do his last fight, and whoever wins that gets the Intercontinental.
I thought it was nice.
And it's going to be Joe Hendry.
I thought it was nice.
He's around here somewhere.
The funny thing about that one was... I realised when, firstly, he came to the ring with Roxanne and Raquel, I was like, well...
Shit's going to happen.
And we all called it because we were talking about Liv anyway, and we're like, oh, well, this is actually a prime opportunity for it to come out at the start of the match. Then they get sent off.
Yeah, they got red carded, didn't they?
Yeah, and then Finn and JD come out. And it wasn't just the double AA that he did to two people at the same time.
That was cool.
Cena is looking healthy and in shape again. I wondered whether...
Probably got a film reel coming up.
Or, I wonder if it's kayfabe. I put this to the people I was watching it with, did he deliberately make himself look that little bit more out of shape for being a heel, so it made him look lazier? And then as he got back to being Super Cena, he actually got back to looking like Super Cena, so he could end his career looking far more...
So he has his final match, and he's match fit, and he's
he
buff
looks
as hell. And
like he did for his career.
Yeah, and he does. Yeah, it's that final photo off, isn't it?
And this is the problem with Unreal kayfabe, is post Unreal, the TV show, kayfabe is now, you really don't know whether that's me coming up with a really good post or like hindsight theory, whether it's actually happened, and they're never going to confirm one way or the other half the stuff that's on the internet. No. But that's why I always laugh when people like Unreal destroy kayfabe. I was like, no, Unreal turned kayfabe into a 2025 concept, including social media, like what the WWE wants you to know from the writer's room. Everything they don't want you to know from the writer's room is completely left out.
Well, there's a new season in January, I think it is.
I can't wait.
Just before Rumble.
Because they're going to do up until, is it?
Cena's last night. Yeah.
But
I still think Cena's last fight is going to somehow involve the president of the USA.
I was going to go more down the lines of it was lovely to see Liv back. Another person.
Very lovely to see Liv back.
I know she's my favourite. And this is the thing that we love about the way that the WWE is run now, especially regarding injury, is she just looks healthy. That's so good.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to be wrestling anytime soon, but I think she's just there as Dom's hype woman.
Or they're going to do what they do where they leave everything saying that it's not going to happen, and then part of a storyline she's like, I'm actually medically cleared. You know, they love to do that as a storyline. Either that
or she's going to take Cena out in the very last Cena. Because when she kicked Dom and he went down, and then she just went over and John was looking like, oh, and then she just went up and gave him a big hug, and it's like, oh, then the camera zoomed in on her face, and then their face dropped. It's like
she did the John Cena.
I think that was just slightly off on the live editing. It's like, wait till her face drops, but they zoomed in beforehand and showed that live. Then her face dropped. It's like, oh, I've seen that face before on the person you're hugging.
And I think, because I watched the post show, I think that was actually one of her first low blows. Because obviously being a female wrestler, they don't tend to do the low blow as a heel move. But
you can't really do it back, can you?
No, but it's very interesting the way it is catching the bone behind the precious bits with the flat of your foot.
Well, it's not that. It's getting your shin on the thigh.
Yeah.
So it looks like your foot is catching the danglers.
A couple of different ways of doing it depending on who you are.
I practice with the cat.
What? No. One, she's female, so it wouldn't work.
Well, I do try and train her to, acknowledge. She just can't get her paw up high enough, so I'm like, high five.
Try and get her to do that one.
Yeah, she can do the Stephanie.
Which is very relevant because that's the one that I got, and to be honest, I was pleased with the respect they showed Nikki Bella, that it wasn't just a smosh. Because this is
a good fight.
Yeah, this is an ex-diva, we're just going to have her lose straight away. They did make her look good. She looked strong. But
Nikki tried to do the devil's kiss on Stephanie, but they just rolled around the ring like 3 or 4 times instead. It's just like,
really good fun. But we've got to talk about one last thing, and that is the thing that I was saying about timing that makes it really frustrating, because it's probably going to be revealed to us like in the next 6 hours. But fake Seth. The beauty of having such a recognizable finisher.
Yeah, the tombstone.
Yeah, curb stomps.
Tombstone.
I was going to say tombstone. That went with the Undertaker's career because he was only allowed to carry on doing it because he's one of the safest workers that's ever been in existence. But
he's a big guy and can cover it.
Well, yeah, not only that, but also he is one of the few people like Brock where there's been no serious injury like marring their career because of how safe they are with their big moves. Anyway, it's obviously not Seth, and we both saw the same theory in different ways because you saw Austin announce it on socials.
There's something on socials about it.
Whereas I saw the funniest post, which was a picture of Austin Theory's ass in his normal wrestling garb, and then a freeze frame of the man in black. And they're like, it's clearly the same ass. And I was like, well, actually, I'm not going to lie. But when he came in, just the stature and everything, I was like, Seth is not as broad and he doesn't have as much junk,
And also he had 2 arms that could move. Because I watched the Seth and Becky Lynch on Bert Kreischer's podcast. And even on the podcast, he's strapped up and she was saying like you've got to be realistic. You might not be back in time for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And he was like playing it off, but she's like kind of trying to ground him by the sounds of it, because she said it a couple of times. It's like, yeah, you might not be back. It's all down to your rehab and how you heal. Well,
or that is brilliant kayfabe, and he's going to come back at the Rumble at wrestling spot, like Rumble spot 30.
But also, with the Rumble, it's in Riyadh.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to hide him.
Oh no, it's going to be hard to hide the surprises anyway, for that reason, that probably, knowing what they're like these days, is there would be like a smaller chartered plane to take the surprises over, so they don't have to travel on like a public aircraft. I can imagine.
They all fly over, all the wrestlers fly over, and then like Seth and a couple of surprises end up having to fly into Baghdad or something, and can catch an armoured truck through the desert.
Exactly.
I'm not quite sure on my Middle Eastern geography. I think perhaps they fly into Qatar. That's probably...
I think that might be closer. All I meant is that they just don't fly on a passenger plane where they can have their photo taken, rather than somewhere completely different, because that's how much the WWE does love to protect their secrets.
Either that, or they just fly all the luchadors over in one plane and they mask everyone up.
Or there's just like 60 El Grande Americanos going across. So that,
or with the leotard.
Yeah, hide in plain sight, put everybody in one, and then you won't notice.
It's the Middle East as well. You could quite easily hide Seth if he took his hair down and he wore one of those Middle Eastern male gowns. I've forgotten the proper name for them, but it keeps you cool. It's like a man dress, but I don't want to call it a man dress.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah.
And
I won't say anymore.
As you're right, if you cover enough
myself
of his face and he's got enough of a beard, then you might not notice him.
Exactly.
Especially if you leave the glitter out the beard, Seth. That's a very big sign that it's you when you've got glitter in your beard.
Unfortunately, once you've got glitter in your beard, it's like herpes. It will stay there forever.
Such a brilliant description. Thank you for that.
Well, I used to date a burlesque performer who came up with that. It's like
lots of glitter.
Yeah. Glitter's like herpes; it'll stay on you forever.
Well,
shall we move on to album club?
I think it might be time. Jesus Christ! Which album are we going to do first? Mine or yours? Okay, so I had Devil Wears Prada, and the album's called Flowers.
Yeah, I like the album cover. The flowers on the album cover.
The logo.
Yeah. But it kind of resembles Midsummer. The original and the newly made one.
Yeah, both. Just don't watch them. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I've seen both of them. I just don't get films like that. They just drag on for so long. It's like it's a 2-hour film that could be siphoned down to about 90 seconds of story.
I think there's just some people that like that slow burn, and we're not those people.
Anywho.
So looking at the information here, I'm trying to remind myself of some because it was on Solid State Records.
Yes.
It's their 9th album, which surprised me because I thought it was like 7th maybe, but it is actually their 9th. Triple checked by both me and the manager in doing...
It's the pandemic just throws time, doesn't it?
It really does, because I still feel like their album 818, which was one of the ones that got them really well known, is still like only like the last album, but that's actually years and years ago. Well, we got it sent to us as an actual physical copy, and that's how I ended up listening to it so much, because I didn't even have...
when we used to get sent CDs.
And I used to have a CD player that worked in my car. I don't even have a CD player in my car anymore. But no, the thing that I noticed the most, because they had that track Salt, which I really liked. That's not on this album, I think, was just like a reminder, which for me was the sort of an idea of what this sound is like. Because
was that the first one that Mike was singing?
Well, again, I'm trying to work out how much, because he's said in interviews that Jeremy's doing far more singing than he ever did before, and they're doing a very sort of, we know it from While She Sleeps and a couple other bands, where every vocal line is sung by multiple members.
Yes.
Metal goes Mumford and Sons, basically.
Or Mastodon, because Mastodon,
they do that
got
too.
Like 3 or 4, each member had some lyrical singing input.
And live, Machine Head, on an awful lot of lines, the clean singing also do that type of thing. But this was
they're a three-piece at the moment.
I'm thinking back in previous times, but they used to dual and triple layer the clean vocals on stuff like Halo. It wasn't the screaming that they did it.
Bullet, because now Jamie sings.
Jamie's a frontman by himself.
Yeah.
So that Bullet has two frontmen. But this is the interesting thing where it's like Sleeps, where the recorded lines are both, or because there's actually Mike and Jeremy on the main vocals, and then it's Jonathan that also provides vocals. He's the keyboard synthesizer programmer, and it's interesting that they're honing the recorded sound of doing multi-layered vocals, because an awful lot of the cleans, there's a raspy scream going on at the same time, or there's multi-cleans going on, which I got to be honest,
harmonizing.
It's a unique sound. Even though I can compare it to other people because they don't sound like While She Sleeps, it's a unique sound in a time where it's really difficult to be unique.
We were saying just before we came in, it's just I gave it a listen because you nominated it, so I gave it a listen. The opening, is it a track or an intro?
I think it's an intro because it's about 2 minutes.
Yeah,
it's not
all like spoken word with violins, and it builds and builds, and then it drops into the first couple of tunes, and I was like, this has got a very Jordan Fish-esque kind of feel to it.
My brain was going American, Bring Me the Horizon.
There's some big synth sounds in that, which I don't think they had before, and it's kind of, it almost gives them that excuse now to push up to the next tier, or
to fill up,
because they need to fill bigger rooms because they've been around.
9 studio albums.
Yeah, for that long,
2005 they formed.
Well, there you go. They've been around 20 years. I know they've had their ups and downs.
Well, interestingly enough, because me and the manager do our research for Album Club on both albums at the same time, because having a manager that doesn't know as much as, like, say, me and Mike do from doing the radio show for nearly 20 years now, it's quite interesting what she prioritises as something interesting that we've forgotten about. And one of the things was that the Devil Wears Prada have really struggled to throw off the stigma of originally being labelled as a Christian metalcore band.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
But there's things that do lend itself to why, because this is their first album with explicit lyrics.
Oh dear!
Right, that's
parental guidance warning sticker.
There's 20 years to get to explicit lyrics, but they did confirm in 2021 that they don't want people to think that they are, because it's disrespectful to Christianity. Love that, boys. You don't have to be of a faith to respect it, and that they actually they did it really charming. They're like, no, we're not Christian. We actually these days just focus on stuff that's fun to play, and I thought that's a really nice way of putting it. But they have confirmed that early stigma that they had is gone. But what I found interesting, I hope if they do end up watching this, that they're not too insulted, is I think lineup changes from how sort of across the career, every time they've had a push, there's been a lineup change of some kind.
Yeah, well, this year's been exceedingly difficult for them, because there was the plane crash that killed Dave Shapiro, but also, was it their drummer, Daniel Williamson?
Daniel Williams, but he left the band in 2016, interestingly enough.
He was in the crash, wasn't he?
Yes.
With Dave Shapiro, who was like the label manager and owner.
Agent for Sum 41, I think.
For everyone.
Yeah, it was really sad. And with, Devil Wears Prada put out the standard post because their friend had passed, and it was a very sad happening because Dave Shapiro was one of those ones that if you're in the industry, just by sheer respectable reputation.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because of all the, he was a booker, a promoter,
and he really
manager.
Believed in the genre.
There's a lot of your favourite bands would have been, had some sort of influence or been touched by Dave and the things that he did within the industry to get those bands where they are now. Which,
but like I say, weirdly, it was not actually a current member of the lineup. But even on this is the last album to feature, I don't know if I wrote this name down because he's not in the band anymore, but they've lost another member that was on these recordings, and he's left in July, I think it was.
Okay, so Mike and Jeremy are the only
Founding members. Yeah. And Mike, by the way, is the one that I've interviewed 4 times across our career. First one, and I thought I'd bring... Yeah, but this was the one, and we've talked about how much my mistakes haunt me in the last week's thing, but this will make you giggle quite a lot. That was the one that you sent me to by myself.
Oh, was it?
I Killed the Prom Queen, and Devil Wears Prada, but I got the settings on our old Zoom Tascami thing wrong, and I screwed the audio. And to this day, I have never forgotten, and Mike even remembered me, because we've done a download interview a couple of years later, then we did a slam dunk interview, and then me and Mike sat down at SWX just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And what's funny is on the first interview, he remembered, he was like, I did wonder what, what your deal was. I was like, I was novice. He was like, well, because we had the full setup and actual mics. He was like, well, you're clearly not anymore. But it was the slam dunk one. I wondered if you remembered this, that he was just in the press area looking lost. And because we remembered him from previous interviews, we said hello.
Was that at Birmingham?
No, this was one of the Hatfield ones, but it was...
Oh, was it?
It was one of our first because the press area design has never been the same as that one year. And it was the one where we had that sofa in the middle of the press area, and we had Atreyu, we had Cancer Bats.
Yes, I remember now.
And you literally went up to him and you were just chatting because, we recognised him. And he was like, are you guys doing interviews today? And we're like, yeah, do you not have anything booked? He's like, no, I found my way to the press area to realise that this was the part of the prep that we didn't do. And he's like, is there any chance I can have an interview? Like, don't worry, we won't just do an interview. I was like, after you've done the interview, I was like, Mike will walk you around. And this is what Mike has done for years, by the way, and he will never bring it up himself. But
what have I done?
If a band needs help and you've got the time to spare, he will walk a new band round, or somebody like Mike that was over from the US feeling a bit lost, and you'll make sure that you introduce them to the other outlets.
Okay.
So that
I'd done something bad then.
No, it's a very good private thing that you do where if a band's struggling to get their press work done...
You mean I become the PR agent?
For like 20 minutes.
Yeah. I have done that a fair few times, actually.
And it's normally Bloodstock that you would do it. You've even done it for PRs. But what was sweet about that one is you just made sure that he had about 6 interviews to do after us, so that his time in the press wasn't wasted. And that's when we interviewed him at SWX on the last one. And he's like, my saviours from Slam Dunk. So I'm genuinely quite pleased. I want this to be an album that does get them to, like we said, that bigger venue size. They do deserve...
They've just been over, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've just toured the UK with... They were support act. They were the... Who was it? I'm sure the manager can find out.
We'll give her a second. And I'm going to steal a wrestling term, is I do want Devil Wears Prada to actually get their flowers. Thank you.
You want them to be put over so they can play bigger venues?
Exactly.
Yeah. Those baby faces.
I wonder if there was a little bit of naming in that, if they're wrestling fans, that, like, we'll give ourselves flowers.
What am I doing?
The recent UK tour.
Thank you.
Our manager is
they were
desperately looking
support
behind the camera.
or opening act for
someone
on an arena tour, I think.
We are waiting for the result.
Ice Nine Kills?
That was it, yeah, because they did the O2.
And that's why it got your attention, because Ice Nine Kills is up there on ones that you pay attention to.
That might have to be a 2026 deep dive, I think.
I really reckon so, because there's so much to them as well.
And I can wear my hat.
But I've also got a counter deep dive, which I reckon would be quite fun because of what we know from behind the scenes and like history. But I reckon a deep dive into Steel Panther would actually be quite fun.
Oh,
because they're not who they say they are, funnily enough. We all know that they play an act, but it's a bit like the history of Sam Ryder. Is most people know him as the guy that did Eurovision, got famous in is Shed over the pandemic, whereas me and Mike know him as the backing vocalist and lead guitarist of Blessed by a Broken Heart. Because he was active in bands for so long before he actually became Sam Ryder. Explains also why he's so comfortable with guitar and his performances, because when you go back and watch the Blessed by a Broken Heart stuff, he is quintessential rock and roll. So I reckon Steel Panther would be quite a fun one, because if you dig far enough
we'll
back...
add that to the list.
On the list.
Just means you have to come back next year. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we'll probably chill things out a bit for the next few weeks, because it's that end of year.
Well,
the industry closes down, people celebrate some festivities, and
we also can't keep talking about mental health and making sure that you give yourself the right time and space
without doing it ourselves.
Exactly that. So we're going to take a little bit of time.
Medicine.
Exactly. And we do this with the radio show and our main podcast. Is we love doing weekly stuff, but you have to record through whatever mood you're in, whatever physical health you're in. So we always take a little bit of a break over Christmas just to get remotivated for the next year, really.
Decompress from the year that was.
Yes. So I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about it.
Yeah, like I said, it was a good album. There's there are some standout tracks that I would listen to again. We've played on the radio show, and some of those tracks are tracks that we haven't played on the radio show.
And I think, for me, it's probably actually one of my top 10 in the Wrapped one that we're going to do. So keep your eyes peeled. Again, do all the bits down the bottom that Mike said, because we are going to do our top 10 albums, but we're putting a little bit of flair into it this year. And we're not talking Ric Flair.
Woo! More of a Charlotte.
Yes. Well, I mean, to be honest, I think she's a far better wrestler. So come at me, internet. I don't care. We are going to do Vower now.
Vower. Yeah, that was my... Well, it's called Album Club, but...
I think
they say this is an EP, but it's got 6 tracks on it.
I feel like Album Club can, as long as we're not
something released in the past month.
As long as we don't do Single Club.
No, that's the radio show.
I was going to say that's something very different as well.
Oh yeah, I'd never do Single Club.
No, me neither. But although I think EPs do qualify. Me too. I think EPs do qualify for Album Club in the same way that we said that EPs qualify for our Wrapped of the Year. Because sometimes the right EP can just get you. For me, it was the darkest moment either last year or the year before. It was only like a 5-track EP, but it was my most listened to thing, which is why it was really high on my Wrapped of the Year. So I'm calling it. EPs count. EPs count.
So Vower released a Storm Lined with Silver on the 14th of November.
Same date as mine.
Yeah, it was an independent release, though, not through a label.
Oh, very nice. Well, that doesn't surprise me, given their history.
Yes, because the band, you may have found an interview that we did, actually, at 2000 Trees.
One of the best ones of the weekend, actually.
In the blazing hot sunshine. They played there, didn't they? And that's when they launched the fact that this EP album was coming out, and the site was absolutely plastered in their tour posters. Yes. The tour has just happened. It's the last night is as we record. But they are going back out into Europe in February. So if you like Vower, then cool. The footage I've seen from the recent UK tour is packed venues.
Well, I'm
people
not surprised.
Are getting down. Yeah.
Because for me,
they've got pedigree.
Well, I was going to say it's one member that I remember particularly strong, but that's because we put him on multiple times when we were promoters with his old band, and that's Josh from Palm Reader.
Yes, and Black Peaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember at the Cavern? I've never let him live it down because it was really funny. And we genuinely don't worry about this stuff where we're from. He thanked us because we live, or our venues were in Exeter and we lived there at the time. And at one point he did like 3 bits to crowd that he got the right city, and then he called us Bristol. Because he was so hanging from the party he'd had in Bristol the night before. But the reason why nobody cares, especially in metal, is who cares about getting the city wrong when you commit to the songs the way that dude commits to the songs? Do you know what I mean? Like,
also, there's not as much rivalry between Exeter, where we're from, and Bristol, but if he'd said hello Plymouth...
Well, we remember when a certain someone on this show, when we were DJing down in Plymouth, decided to announce...
This guy?
Yep.
Hello, welcome, we're your brothers from Exeter.
And we got booed! Admittedly...
And I got jumped on.
Yeah.
By a girl.
Yeah.
Not jumped on, but jumped on.
It was a good night.
It was, but it was over the decks and I was trying to mix.
And we did win that crowd over because I think about half an hour later they forgot we were from Extra and liked the fact that we were playing better tunes than the house DJ, because guests always do, like, we have time to plan a set and you only have a small set to do rather than an entire evening's worth of
yes.
tracks. So no disrespect to house DJs, it's a really difficult job to keep a house set fresh every week. But yeah, we did get booed for that. We made
up for it the following year on New Year's Eve when we decimated.
Oh, and got the entire crowd, like, I think it was doing a diamond up at us, wasn't it?
Chanting and, it was just...
Yeah, good times, back when we partied hard.
Yeah,
Andrew
anyway.
WK was so proud of us back then. But now Des from Devil Drive is proud of us because we followed his way of life, which is, sober.
California style.
Exactly. So what I like is that these guys are considered online, with all the research we're doing, from the pedigree we were talking about, as a supergroup.
Yeah, I guess they are.
Which makes me smile because we loved Black
UK
Peaks.
supergroup, Vower.
Exactly. But what surprised me, knowing what Palm Reader's style was like, firstly, straight away, was the vocals of Vower is so different that it's not just crushing, screaming vocals like Palm Reader was. A lot more of that constantly.
It's more post-hardcore, which is why it pricked my ears, but also very proggy in places, which is why they've played at like 2000 Trees and Art Tangent with Carnival and the likes.
What I liked, though, is you can tell from, the pitch of the screams being so clean. Like, I could understand what he was saying through most of his lyrics when he was screaming.
Well, it was produced by Rabia, who's used to be in Tosca, but is also in the band. So they're self-produced. They're in their own independent release. So it's a whole DIY, do-it-yourself kind of... Using
their experiences up until this point to make this independent from the start.
Almost like you mentioned the band earlier, but While She Sleeps did the same thing. They
did it later, but I imagine if they had to stop gigging underneath While She Sleeps, they probably would have actually done the same independent thing. It's because these guys have stopped the projects they were doing before. Yeah,
but what I mean is Sleeps did everything in-house.
Well, they still do.
Yeah, and they became a lot more successful with the Sleep Society warehouse.
They also understand their fan base so well. But I think Vower are similar, because that was some of the stuff that came up in the interviews, how people have followed the members from their previous projects, knowing what their performances are like, knowing the respect they have for their fans, the respect they have for the live scene. And what made me smile as well is listening to his vocals. Sometimes we listen to stuff and you're like, I am curious as to whether they're going to be able to perform this live, Whereas with that, it was good vocals, really good vocals, but it was also with an idea of, it's a gig-hardened voice that you're listening to.
Oh, yeah.
It's not somebody that, I remember when I chatted to Jamie from Polaris about how nervous he was gigging his first album, because it took them 5 years to write, and he had actually grown up quite a bit in that time, and his voice had changed. Whereas this, Vower are using all of their experience to create really interesting tracks. No two tracks are the same either.
No, they're not.
And that made me quite happy, because I quite like Dawn in Me, and is it Moth to a Flame, or...
yes.
Yeah. And they're so different in style as well. But
then the lead single stuck completely different again.
Yeah. So it's quite an interesting one, because we've got a band that have been around for years and they've managed to find their sort of energy in a new sound, whereas these guys have found their energy in a new project. Because I remember chatting to the guys from Palm Reader a couple of years ago, I think at Trees, and they're like, we need Palm Reader to come to an end. We're not the same people that wrote the original tracks.
I think that was when we actually saw them at Boomtown.
Maybe, yes. And then it was only a short time after that they did hang up the Palm Reader capes.
Yeah.
But I can see why, listening to this, especially with Josh, it gives him more to do. It gives him rests in the set where he can do cleans and warm the voice back up and stuff like that. Again, I'm quite excited to see what their next EP or full length is going to be about, because I think it's going to be... I don't think we've seen what these guys have to offer quite yet. This is just a taster. Well,
they say their influences is just everyday life.
And manager actually made a point when she was looking into it. She liked the fact that every song they have has a different meaning, and they intend it to be that way. And even the name of the album, obviously, has a lot of meaning. So if you're like us and
a
you like
storm lined with silver.
Yeah, if you like digging deep into stuff, that's how we came up with the idea of the PMA track years ago, is we liked finding out the positive meaning behind some very angry music. Do this with both bands, is there is a lot of meaning behind the stuff that they write. Often what actually makes it to Album Club does have that. But Vower particularly, there's some very interesting stories behind their tracks. So dig deep. That's after you've done a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Yes, because you want to come back to the next pod that we're going to put out later in the week, because it might be us, it might not be us. That's all we're going to say about it.
Just also, it's another chance for you to laugh at me embarrassing myself on this podcast.
That is very true.
Yeah, no, this is another embarrassing one for me, but it's my idea, so I just keep putting myself forward for this type of thing.
So, yeah.
Until I embarrass myself later in the week. There we go. Podcast done.